is yet a brand new week filled with greater possibilities for all of us. It is on this note that I welcome you to Inside Nigeria, your favorite newspaper headline review show. My name is Tion Joseph, and in just about 5 minutes, I'll be reading to you major stories from five different Nigerian newspapers. Allow me to begin this morning with Leadership newspaper, which is the most influential newspaper in Nigeria. The lead story on leadership this morning says 2023 polls academic session may shut up 3 million students with no arrangement for campus voting, says INEC. We are determined to vote, holiday or no holiday. Don't disenfranchise them, COC's warning. Low turnout as PVC's collection closes. That is the report we have from Leadership newspaper this morning. But of course, you can always have more stories on our website. You just need to hop onto www.leadership.ng and you will be served. Having said that, let's look at National Economy, which is the sister publication to Leadership newspaper. On National Economy, the list story says 9 trillion naira loss in a decade. Poor commitment slows Nigeria's quest to ending gas flaring. That is the report we have from National Economy. You can find more stories on www.nationaleconomy.com. Now we take a look at the Vanguard, and the list story says new naira notes. OPS 6 ways out of supply hiccups. Cash crunch may lead to 25% drop in monthly sales of goods, says Man. Nasima commends CBN but says exercise disruptive to economy. SBAN lists effects on small businesses. And lastly, 100 trillion naira component of GDP at risk, says CPPE. That is the report we have from the Vanguard. Now, onto the Punch newspaper. The list story says Buhari under pressure to end fear, Naira disasters. First bullet says governors in talks with presidency. MFLA as reps more emergency session. And lastly, from the Punch, president must intervene. Crisis affecting turnout at rallies, says senators and reps. Now, to conclude the first part of the show, let's look at the Guardian. List story on the Guardian says fuel, naira scarcity, depletes productivity, worsens inflation. That is what we'll be taking for the first part of the show. We crave your indulgence to stay tuned for the second part of the show. My name is Tion Joseph, and I'll be back your way 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Until then, do have a great day.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning and welcome to the second segment of Inside Nigeria, reaching you on leadership television. It's shop is good. So I'm hosting you this Monday, February 6th, 2023 edition of the program. With me in the studio is a public affairs analyst. It is Dayo Omogun. Dayo, it's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
It's my greater pleasure.
I trust you had a beautiful weekend.
Yeah, was restful. Yes.
Because you didn't have to do the three Qs.
Thank you for everything.
So Q,
I hope we don't get to queuing for food or food tickets.
Yes, it's time to discuss headline stories in this session of the program. We are starting off with Leadership, Nigeria's most influential newspaper. Leadership's cover story says 2023 polls, academic session may shut out 3 million students. 2023 polls, academic session may shut out 3 million students. Riders, we have no arrangement for campus voting. INEC, we are determined to vote, holiday or no holiday. Don't disenfranchise them, CSOs warn. Low turnout as PVC's collection closes. I'll take Leadership's leading story again. 2023 polls, academic session may shut out 3 million students. We have no arrangement for campus voting, INEC. We are determined to vote, holiday or no holiday. CSOs warn, don't disenfranchise them. Low turnout as PVC's collection closes. Leading story on Leadership newspaper. Yes.
That's a tough one, and that's not too. It's not good news because 3 million is a huge figure, and that could make a huge difference in the final results of any elections. 3 million young people, and that also means that for the first time, there's this flurry around young persons registering in this last registration exercise.
Yes.
So that's like frustrating all their efforts. That's like saying that 3 million out of all those people who came up and said, we must register this time, have been cut off. But you see, I think it's a tough choice. If you have spent 8 months at home last year without lectures, without school activities, and then you managed to get back towards the end of last year, and then no reasonable school is going to want to shut down again. Meanwhile, in the meantime, don't forget that even the issues that prompted the 8-month face-off between the federal government and ASU have still not been properly resolved.
Yes.
In actual fact, I saw that ASU was meeting, or is about to meet, or was meeting last week or something, to deliberate on the outstanding salaries. So that is still there. You never can say what they're going to do next. And then if you now also say that students should go on holidays because of the elections, how many holidays are they going to embark upon, and how much time are they going to really have at the end of the day for their studies? Now, but I think that the CSOs, for example, that are calling for saying they should not be disenfranchised, ought to have made this call much, much earlier. It's too late in the day to begin to say that, because these guys say they don't have. Yeah, okay. I mean, look at it this way. For example, I have a son in Benin. In actual fact, I have 2 of them, a son and a daughter in Benin. And I think that one of them registered around here. Are you going to say that because of elections, they should hit the road all the way from Benin to come to Abuja? So it would have been a much better situation if probably INEC had provision for campus elections, and such that students can vote within their campuses or around the campuses, wherever they live. Again, it also calls for, the point remains that we've not perfected our registration act. We must get to the point where you could use your card anywhere. If you can use your ATM card anywhere, then we must be able to vote anywhere with our registration card. Because there is no guarantee that because you register in Abuja during the elections, you will be in Abuja. All kinds of circumstances can come up that will make you not to be in the particular place where you register. So I'm sure that we can configure this card to enable us to register from wherever and
Yes.
without compromising the quality of the election.
Exactly. Because
So
if it's a
until we
BVS,
get there,
as long as it's just biometric
Exactly.
registration application, that means you can.
you can get
Yeah.
it from wherever. So that's the ultimate, that's the point we must get to. Because you cannot keep insisting that people, that's backward, that's in the past.
Although
You cannot keep
when
insisting
come to
that
think
people
of it,
must.
to be quite cumbersome because you have to tally votes from each
You know,
state and
I mean,
each ward.
I'm
So if you are now voting from, I think it will make a
No.
problem of
See,
counting
that for me
election.
is not going to be so much a problem. Look at it, for example, your branch, your account is in a particular branch, right? And then you go to Yola and you collect money.
Mm.
Now, does it affect your balance? Does it? It's not. I mean, it can be worked out. It can be worked out. It doesn't matter in the end. For example, for a presidential election, it doesn't really matter the words. It's the final results that really matter. Exactly. So, as far as I'm concerned, we must get to the point where I have my PVC. I can decide to vote from anywhere, even though the basic details show exactly where I registered and everything. And the information can be retrieved. The important thing is for the INEC officials to be able to retrieve and to localize your details to where it was registered and to ensure that what you have provided is what they see. So I think that basically that's it. So until that point, then we will continue to have situations like this. Because suppose somebody you have an emergency at home. Will you leave your emergency because of the elections? No, you attend to your emergencies.
Yes.
But while attending to your emergency, if you can vote from anywhere, it makes it a whole lot easier. And then a whole lot, INEC, I must commend INEC that they have done a whole lot this time around, but there's still a lot of work to
Yeah,
do.
but there's a little
Maybe towards the next cycle of elections.
Yes, I thought we would speak to this last Friday. Low turnout as PVC's collection closes. In the same story we have on Vanguard, anger frustration as PVC collection ends. Because we've seen so many videos that are making the rounds, and we see that the houses people Nigerians are going through just to get their PVCs, and there are even reports that most of the time they are even asked to pay 1,000. I was hoping that INEC would have gotten was privy to some of these videos.
In actual
We even
fact,
saw a woman that was injured because of the stampede. You know,
Mhm.
there are people actually at the collection center, but they are not getting their PVCs. That's just the situation.
I think that that's an area that INEC doesn't currently have
because
an answer to.
INEC keeps saying low turnout, but we see people, crowding to collect their PVCs, and they are not getting it.
There are
And
obstacles that are being erected. Hindrance
Yes.
is being put in
how we
in
hear
front
from
of these people
INEC is low turnout. No.
that are not quite open to the people.
Yes.
I know someone, for example, who is very concerned about the elections, but he and his wife have tried several times over to try to get their card. If it's not that, oh, please come tomorrow or come at an unholy hour,
Yes.
I mean, as if there's nothing else for someone to do. So these guys had gone there more than about 7 times
Oh,
and they didn't
yes.
get.
Exactly.
Now there are others who have been. Just yesterday, I was speaking with someone, and he said he should bring 5,000 naira.
Oh yes.
5,000 naira for what?
And we even saw one that she had to disguise as a
Disguise as
pregnant woman so that
yes.
they would attend to
And
her.
she got away. I mean, she was
able to-
attended to
So
finally.
that's
Do we have to
situation.
go to all those
it's,
kind of?
it's
dramatic,
somehow ironic that
point?
INEC keeps saying low turnout, but the videos that we are seeing and what we are seeing on the ground and on the feed is contrary to what INEC is saying.
I think that this is late already. It's closed now. In the next round of registrations, INEC must perfect some of these rough edges. It's not right. In actual fact, everything should be made as easy as possible. Today, for example, you want a GT card. Okay, now you want one of the banks. You want one of their ATM cards. You don't even have to talk to anybody. They have self-service machines. You just go there, and in less than 10 minutes, you get your card. You don't even need to talk to anybody. And it's efficient, it's doing great. I know of another bank that within the same day, you will get your card, even though you are relating with human beings and all that. But in the case of this other bank, you don't even need to relate with anybody. You just go to the machine and then you get it. Meanwhile, in that same industry, there are banks that you have to wait for a week. So it then means that this is possible. It's possible to elevate the quality of service that INEC renders. I don't see why, for example, we cannot get to the point where you come in today, you get your card today.
Exactly.
It can be done.
It can be
It
done.
can be
Yes,
done.
because
So,
that's what is done with ATM now.
Exactly. I mean, you get your card straight away. And it doesn't falter. It doesn't mean that because you are getting it at a higher speed, then it does not work properly. No, it works.
It's still your details.
It's still your details, exactly. So we must get to that point. INEC must find out what kind of technologies they need to acquire to be able to deliver this kind of service. Because until we get there, we'll still continue to have a lot of problems in our elections. For example, I mean, those people have been disenfranchised. Those who couldn't collect their tax.
Exactly.
And so they're going to just be observers and all that. I mean, that's not right.
After going the
Extra mile of getting registered.
It's really, really sad.
Very.
Yes, we move over to our next paper for discussion, and that is The Guardian. Guardian is leading with the story Fuel Naira Scarcity Depletes Productivity, Worsens Inflation. Fuel Naira Scarcity Depletes Productivity, Worsens Inflation. ASCSN, more workers to sit at home over intolerable fares. Not producing will lead to food shortage, retrenchment, says food union. Economy has disenfranchised MSMEs. We are starving, Nigerians lament. Protests playing into hands of those seeking election shifts, NLC president warns. Government making mockery of monetary system, says NECA. House may reconvene before February 25th 5 elections over cash crunch, says Gbajabiamila. Falana activists warn of social unrest. Afenifere Buhari's 7-day request to resolve currency crisis too long. Yes, that reminds me. We have been seeing videos too of so many, I don't want to call it shenanigans, so many actions or acting taking place in our banking halls. We've seen some people's
Very,
tweets.
it's it's unfortunate. It's
Very
a shame.
unfortunate.
It's a shame of the nation. People are watching this things all over the world. People going naked. There's a case, stark naked.
Oh yes, and
Stark
there's a
naked.
follow up to that. The man that was stark naked, the son actually went and apprehended there, and saw what they did to one of the bankers, a female. Ironically, they couldn't pick on a fellow male banker. They picked on a female banker.
No, I didn't see that part.
They
It's very unfortunate. what's
barricaded her.
happening.
They took her tire. They molested her. Yeah.
You see, these are the spin-offs. These are the kind of things that will come out of a government that has lost
The
its
son
purpose.
that is the son
Because-
was saying that it's my father that stripped naked in banking, but
Exactly.
he refused to give my father. And of course, the woman kept saying, "Did I tell your father to strip naked? Was I the one that asked your father to strip naked?"
I think that again, you see, when emotions run riot, anything is possible. But that's rather extreme. I think that we must speak to our people that that's extreme. You can make your point without going that extreme
Yeah,
point.
we also saw the one that of the woman too.
Exactly, some, and then jumping on the counter and all that. Of course, you
Even
must.
in
You see, I said here last week.
was it Ibadan? They even destroyed.
They
some
destroyed a
ATMs.
bank.
Yes.
Now, I said here last week that the stage is being set for a mass protest that will
Yes.
indeed be a protest. That
Yes.
is not a protest that is sponsored by anybody.
Yes.
You won't need money. Nobody will bring any money to give to anybody. But because there's revulsion against what is at play, people, it will be automatic. It will just, I mean, like the kind of thing that we saw in 2020 as a protest. That's the kind of thing to be provoked when you keep treating Nigerians as if they don't matter. Now, see, it's very sad what has happened in the last few weeks. And I think that a government that truly believes that is in existence in order to take care of the welfare of the people would have found a solution to this. We didn't have to get to this point.
Yes.
This is a very shameful point, and I expect that today, even today, that a whole lot will go into managing this situation. I mean, what does it take? I've seen in the last 2 days or thereabouts, I've seen some videos where EFCC officials, CBN officials, a team is going around different places. This ought to have been the case even from the very blast of the whistle.
Exactly.
So CBN lost its oversight function
And many of
at the beginning. They left it too late. I guess they thought that, I mean, these were simple instructions enough, the bank would just follow. But you see, they didn't factor the Nigerian factor. They didn't factor in the Nigerian attitude, the Nigerian factor. The fact that people are always thinking of making a fast buck from every unfortunate situation. I think that that's what has played out. And we must get our acts together from today, this morning, to ensure that this doesn't get beyond. Because you see, that's what some people are saying. We're already playing into the hands of people who don't want the elections to hold, or who would rather want the elections to be disrupted. So we need to be careful. We need to be careful for so many reasons. It could lead to the point where you say, oh, there's no peace in town, so we can't hold the elections. That would be unfortunate. That would mean a slaw that the Buhari regime will have to live down. It would be a tough one to I mean, I know they have all kinds of spin doctors, but you see, that would be a tough one to try to do any state managing about. So I want to speak to the government to please do whatever they can. I mean, I hear of currency change in other climes that you hardly even notice.
Yeah, some people said they go.
You-
Supposed to
they go-
old
they go
notes
together,
go
yeah. And at one point, the old ones would have been totally retrieved. So I think that we must follow that kind of route. We didn't have to get to this point. This is very unfortunate, very shameful. But you see, when people are pressed, if someone has someone in the hospital, if someone has rent issues, and the landlord is in a no nonsense mood, and your baggage is already at the door. I mean, you would be ready to do anything. I mean, there are all kinds of pressures on matrimony, on marriages. There are women who are saying, "Is this all you can do?" In spite of whatever the man is doing at this point, if there is no cash, without cash, a whole lot is put on a hold. So we cannot overemphasize the need for the government to put up their very best act from today and ensure that these things do not happen.
Thank you so much. That is all for fear and scarcity. We are going on a break. When we come back, we're looking at other papers we have on our menu. Don't go away.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. We're still on to Inside Nigeria, and it's reaching you on Leadership Television. My name is Winfred Devil, as usual, and with me in the studio has been a public affairs analyst, Dayo Omobu. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much.
I want us to look at the Punch newspaper, and then it's open for discussion. Overcrowded Abuja schools where pupils learn on bare floor. Overcrowded Abuja schools where pupils learn on bare floor. And on the cover of the Punch newspaper, you can see pictures, of course, of pupils who are actually sitting on bare floor to learn. Pupils of LEA Primary School, Bugbe B Zone 9 in Abuja, sitting on bare floor while learning under leaking roofs. Wow. It's an eyesore.
It's sad. You know,
In this modern time, and right here in the
right here in the
Federal
Federal
Capital
Capital Territory, it's very unfortunate. If this is happening here, you can imagine what is happening in one remote Sokoto
Exactly.
village.
Yes.
What is happening in one remote Edo village?
Yes.
What's happening in one Oshun village, one Bayelsa village?
Yes.
Now, so this is a bad measure. It's a bad sign of the kind of thing that runs through the entire country. See, just over the weekend, Daily Trust it was that showed Nigeria Saturday or something like that, you saw all kinds of pictures of people. I mean, the land like in turmoil. I mean, people in all kinds of troubled situations. Now, look at this. You go right down, you'll find several of this. You can be sure that people in authority would be
And
totally
Lugbe is not,
angry with this kind of
not
thing.
just so far off from the
Just right here in
just
Lugbe.
right here. Yes.
Now, you can imagine, I mean, the government will not like this kind of publication. But like I say all the time, journalists just report what is happening. You don't want it reported, don't let it happen. It's as simple as that. What does it take to ensure that every school has a proper roof and proper building?
It's really,
What
really
does it
strange that when we are talking about education for all,
for all? You have this kind
education
of thing.
for all, we are still having students.
No,
having
see,
to
these ones are
learn.
this is luxury compared to some cases. There are people, even during the rainy season, there are puddles of water.
Yeah, you
inside.
can see the leaking roofs now.
So-
Under leaking
so
roofs,
you
see
can
the roof
imagine
so
that.
bad.
You can imagine the effect, health effect. You can imagine, I mean, how can they really study and understand under this condition? What kind of working condition is that for the teachers? I mean, what security do they have against the environment? All kinds of things that you can begin to talk about. So it clearly shows
Of
that
course,
the government is not on top of its
yeah,
game.
but it falls under the purview of the Federal Capital Territory.
Whatever, it's government. As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't necessarily have to be federal government. Government is government at the local government area level, at the state level, whatsoever. So I'm talking globally. All the governments need to really, really sit up. If you don't find this in private schools, why would you find them in public schools?
It's really, really.
Why would you
so
find them?
unfortunate
What
that
example does the government leave for others to follow?
we are still having schools where students have to sit on the bare floor
Bare floor,
just to learn.
without roofs, under leaking roofs.
Under leaking roofs still.
So, and you expect that kind of a teacher to be motivated to work.
Even
You
students
expect the
too.
student
How
to
do
be
you
able
advise them
to
learn?
assimilate.
Yes, to assimilate
How?
under this condition.
How is it going to happen? Then what kind of worldview are you building into such a person? That's the reason they come up and become leaders. And because this is all they have lived with all their lives, they have no taste.
Yes.
Their taste, their worldview is exactly. So, government, please, FCT government. There's a whole lot that you can begin to talk about that ordinarily should be.
And this is supposed
things
to be
that
basic,
don't even matter
basic
any
education.
longer.
Of course, you can see that it's even primary school, and yet they are facing this kind
This
of hardship
situation. So,
to learn.
I don't understand how this can happen, but it has happened. I hope that the FCT,
Will
of
see
course, they
this
can't
and
miss
take
this.
it.
They can't miss this morning. And pictures don't lie.
And when you
So-
go around all these schools, you see that you think that they are in perfect condition because you see that they are all wearing good paint.
Some of them,
You see the schools, most of them.
yeah.
First brand.
Yeah.
I think all is well.
No,
We need to-
we're people who
just
love
notice
window dressing.
that.
You know,
Yes, that's what I see. And most of the schools too, apart from this plot, they don't even have basic sanitation.
the book says I think it's in Matthew 23, around verse 23, it says, people are like some people are like white sepulchres. And they look on the outside,
Inside.
but inside what you have is dead men's bones. It's unfortunate. That's the kind of thing that we generally have in Nigeria. We like to dress up the outside. It's a clean the platter from the inside. How can you have a platter that is filthy inside, but then the outside is beautiful? So see, I think that that's the message going on to everyone concerned today. You don't have to, if you don't have good classes, why spend so much on fences? And that the reason is there's so much that can be stolen from building. They can inflate the contract for the fencing, and then on the outside, people think, oh, these guys are doing a great job. And so, on the long run, the point must be made that if you allow children of the poor to continue to remain poor from generation to generation, even the children of the rich will suffer the consequences.
Oh yes.
Because when when the poor get hungry and they have nothing to eat, they'll feed on the rich.
Yes.
So the rich needs to wake up and ensure that there's the environment can allow people from all ranks, people from all cadres to be able to relate together and grow together.
And aside these ones, we also have situations. I personally, when I was doing a story then, I saw that some of these schools too, still on these early age schools in FCT,
Absolutely.
they don't have basic sanitation facilities. They don't have water. They don't even have toilets.
Some don't even
That
have
one alone,
toilets.
impacts negatively. This one is that why we have so many out of school children. There's a child that knows that he doesn't have access to toilet facilities. We don't want to go to school.
That's it.
Especially
Female children.
female child, exactly.
See, I think that we generally treat ourselves below human level, and it's unfortunate.
Oh, yes.
For example, you just talked about toilet facilities. Now, do you even can you think for a moment that you have plazas all over FCT, big huge buildings, and many of them don't have toilet facilities. They don't make provision that it is human beings who must go through normal biological systems, who must once in a while have bowel movements, who must take a leak from time to time, that will use these facilities. Such that if you go to buy, I mean, those eateries in those days, sometimes you don't really even have something to buy per se, but because you are pressed, you
Yes.
go in there and maybe pretend that you want to pick something, but you quickly use the facility.
Yes.
That has, it has settled you for that moment. Ordinarily, plazas should have those kind of things. Now, let's bring it down to schools. How on earth do you have schools where you are encouraging children to go into the bush around
Yes.
to go do the needful?
yes.
It's unfortunate. What exactly are you teaching them? They should at least come to school. One of the things that helps learning is the ambience, the environment of the school. In those days, you had my secondary school was almost like a higher institution. I mean, you had trees, you had flowers, you had flower beds, you had fields, you had almost every sport. We had a cricket pitch, we had a volleyball field, a pitch, we had a standard football field, we had everything. Now, if you go to that school from a poor home, now it begins to enlarge your thought process.
Yes.
It's enamored, you are enamored of the environment. It makes you want to go back there every day. Now, but if there's no difference between your house and the school, there's nothing challenging, there's nothing
And
motivating
in all
for you
this-
to even go.
Yes, and in all these schools too, you see that students still practice open
Defecation. That's
Nigeria
it.
still has worst indices of open defecation. Up to now, they have not been able to eradicate open defecation, and
You
it's
know-
also causes of so many diseases that we're experiencing, especially among our children.
Yeah. So these are the issues that they must look out and take care of for the benefit of everybody. Eventually, the benefits it belongs to all of us.
Thank you so much for that. Still on Inside Nigeria, we have another paper, and that is our sister publication, National Economy. What is national economy? Reading it this week. National economy. 9 trillion naira loss in a decade. Poor commitment slows Nigeria's quest to ending gas flaring. 9 trillion naira loss in 9 trillion naira loss in a decade. Poor commitment slowed Nigeria's quest to ending gas flaring. We've seen governments upon successive governments pledging to do away with gas flaring, but up to now it has not shown commitment for these oil giants to end gas flaring, especially in Niger Delta. What can we do?
You know, generally, as someone who's in the public view and who has opportunity to moderate public opinion, you are careful not to echo certain sentiments. For example, when some people say that this country is a jungle, you don't want to echo such
No.
sentiment. But
Try to
again,
speak
how do
positive
you
about that
want to
country.
now counter it when you find things like this? Now, you see clearly a resource that could bring you fortune, and you see it wasting away. And there are ways by which this can be turned to gold, can be turned to a huge resource base. And for years we've been at this. It doesn't make sense any longer. Sometimes you are you exactly do not know exactly what to say any longer, because we have said this over and over and over and over again. There are people who who are ready to partner with us to change this narrative. Why have we not taken advantage of this? And at a time when, for the first time in a long while, the president is also, it doubles as the minister
Yes,
of petroleum. You would have thought, and he also has experience from his earlier
It was,
play in the
yes,
public sphere as
Petroleum
Minister of
Trust
Petroleum.
Yes, was Mr.
Petroleum,
was
and then
also
he
in
headed
charge of Petroleum
Trust Fund.
Yes.
So you would have thought that with this pedigree, that I mean, he would make a whole world of difference in that sector. But what have we seen? What we have been, I mean, saddled with is this flaring, gas flaring continuously. Is the queues have not stopped. Even the fraud or that he, I mean, the scam that he called a fraud before stepping into, the fraud has enlarged, has blossomed. So exactly what is the color of the problem of Nigeria, or what is the color of the problem of this administration? Why is it that you meet a problem, you have all the resources to tackle it, and then yet the problem does not even reduce, rather it's enlarging.
Like talking about insecurity issues. He said before he came in,
Yes.
Boko Haram had
Some areas
local
in local government areas in Borno State.
yes, in Borno State.
So now
Yes,
you have
and that he has disseminated them. And
wonderful.
at the end of the day,
Then you
he
now
has
spread it all
spread
over the
it all
country.
over
I mean, so how do you clean glasses over that? So you tell yourself I'm doing well because okay, in the whole of I'm painting a picture now. So they were holding the FCT down, and then so you came in and made sure that FCT was free. Okay, so FCT was free, but in the process of freeing FCT, Niger, Kaduna, Nasarawa, every other place is partaking of the thing. How do you ever even give thumbs up to yourself? So you see, I think that a whole lot of these people are so totally separated from reality. They are in their cozy situations, far removed from what the average Nigerian experiences. So they don't give it. I mean, it's like going to tell one of those people, their children, that you have not eaten since yesterday. They can't understand it because they eat their 3 square meals. They in between they take snacks. They do all kinds of things. So you come and say, "Oh, I've not eaten." Look, they don't understand it. Why do you lie so much? You know, that's exactly what I think that these people that where they are, they can't believe that this happened. Yet they should understand that leadership is about setting the environment. Leadership is about providing the ambience, the environment for things to begin to happen. It's about creating a new order where you find the old order totally against acceptable standards, globally acceptable standards. But what do we find? We find that we have members of this government who are just interested in the titles that they bandy around. So they enjoy it. That was why at the beginning they kept flying around the world with their families in the official presidential jet because they just thought it was time to in quote unquote flex. They thought it was they thought it was time to just flex. Like I say, I mean, you go to churches, and let me bring it again to that level. You go to churches, people get appointed as pastors. They get ordained as pastors. And they think that it is something to celebrate. Yes, to some extent, yes, there's some celebration. But they fail to grasp the finer detail that it's a lot of work, except those who do not understand the work involved. It's a lot of work of sacrifice. It's a lot of removing yourself from the things that you would normally do. It's a lot of, consecrating yourself to the. So, likewise, leadership is a huge sacrifice. It's not about the perks of office. The perks will normally come, but you must, put yourself in a place where I am not like the other person. The world is waiting on me. Until we have leaders who have that mindset, this is the kind of we just keep driving around in circles.
Yes. And this cover story on the national economy is particularly sad because it's time that Nigeria has a
Economic
depending
challenge.
on Ukraine, Russia for gas.
And then we are wasting our own.
And it has affected their electricity supply. Gas is needed and it has reduced. So, and here we are wasting our own. Up to now,
sometimes you get to the point where you exactly do not know what to say any longer.
Productivity. Yes. It's really, really sad. And you have a next government in, I still do the same story.
Story.
Sincerely hope not. So, but just before we go, I want us to look at Vanguard newspaper again. Vanguard says new naira notes. OPS 6 ways out of supply hiccups. Cash crunch may lead to 25% drop in monthly sales of goods. Man, Nasima comments CBN versus exercise disruptive to economy. Asbon list effects on small businesses. 100 trillion naira component of GDP at risk. CPPE.
See, everything. I do not think that the government does not see the problems.
But
I
President
think
Buhari said we
it's a
should give
function
him
of-
7 days.
Why do we need 7 days? I mean, even the 7 days. I mean, it's like we have had situations where he gave 2 weeks. We have had situations where he said in 3 weeks. I mean, if we have had all these promises fail all over and over again, what makes this different? I think that if he was truly concerned, government should not be about running after the problem. Government should be about being proactive.
Yes.
Should be able to size up the situation and say, this thing we're about to do, these are the likely fallouts.
It's
And
so unfortunate
this,
that
we should put this and this and
yes,
this in place
CBN,
to ensure that this doesn't
they
happen.
gave 3 months window, right?
Yes,
Since
yes.
when?
Since
3 months
around
ago.
November, from
And
November.
banks
right.
only started disbursing the new naira notes December 15th.
That's what I said. The CBN lost. They just, sat back and believed that
Although
the
the
instruction
governor was
was being
also
carried out.
embroiled in the how do you call it, issues. Remember how DSS
It was,
issued that
yes,
out?
but
Was
no,
after
no. See,
he went to
no. The governor,
was it you,
the bank operates as an
overseas?
institution.
There was
The
no
bank
issue.
operates as an institution. So whether the CBN governor
Was there
individual
or not.
as an individual was there or not, the bank ought to be on top
Mm.
of its game.
Yeah.
So because again, we live in an era, and that's what I say when I'm relating with people. We live in an era where technology drives business.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're not even here does not mean that your business should not continue.
Yeah.
You can give instructions online. You can do a whole lot of stuff. You can speak at all. So that's not an excuse.
Mm.
The point for me is that they sat back and believed that all was going well.
Mm.
And so some bankers, unscrupulous bankers, unscrupulous politicians, unscrupulous businessmen took advantage of those early hours and went to the banks and colluded
And
together
hijacked
and hijacked the system and hijacked the space. And so before they got onto it, a whole lot of damage had been done.
Yes.
That's what they are running after now. But if the CBN had followed up from day one and ensured that the money was getting to, and then maybe
even as at
maybe
December, early June,
even
January,
exactly,
banks were still disbursing old notes.
imagine that.
I, for one,
And
I
people
went to
were
the
shouting,
bank, I went
and
to the
on
banking
TV
hall.
stations, people were complaining.
Mm.
If you indeed want a December 31
Yes.
deadline, how come as at December 7th,
December, January.
January,
Yes.
how come as at early January,
Yes. Banks
ATMs were still
disbursing.
dispensing old notes? How come you still go to the bank and they pay you with old notes? So I think that at that point, CBN lost it totally.
Yes.
Meanwhile, look at it. If indeed this was targeted at frustrating
Mm.
politicians,
Mm.
I think that plot has been lost.
Of course.
I think that they have walked
They are
right
always
into
way ahead.
the trap
Exactly.
of the
As we
politicians.
speak, the new naira notes are in the hands of
They are in their hands.
They thought they
Imagine
were
that
going to frustrate.
the bandit leader was boasting and showing the new notes. When you and I don't have the
You
new
don't
notes,
have it.
they have it, and they say they have sackfuls of it. So it shows you that something is totally wrong. The same way that I keep saying that why our insecurity problems have persisted is because there are elements who are working together to ensure that this is not overcome. And these forces are powerful forces, some of them in government, that are ensuring that this is happening. Because see, if government really determines that this must stop today, it will stop. I interviewed someone about 2 years back, a very popular guy in Abuja circles here, and maybe beyond, a barrister Opara. The first name is not coming out. But this guy said as at that time, that was 2020, the government wants the insecurity, the terrorism to stop, as at then that it will stop. We have everything to ensure that it stops. Okay, now I'm asking, what then is the essence of the NIN SIM linkage. If we have done that, and people are still getting away with ransom calls, people are still getting away with kidnapping
One of the
and all kinds of
presidential
things.
said it. He said it's so unfortunate that every other person knows the kidnappers will use the same SIM to call families of kidnapped to send him money. Yeah, police is not aware.
It's not aware. Yet we have non-state actors who move in and out of these
Yes.
bandits camps, and they cannot be used by the state.
Yes.
Let's even say that they have no hand in it, they are just mediating. So the state cannot use
Them.
these people to
Yeah.
get onto the. I mean, it's laughable.
Even the state was even negotiating for the Abuja Kaduna train kidnapping.
Yeah,
But the state was negotiating with them now
of course.
to release those
To
people. And
yes.
you see them.
So,
It's-
so
it's-
clearly, what is frustrating this is that there are forces in official quarters that are in cahoots with these people, and that's why
It's something
we're
everybody
having
sees
we're
and
having
everybody
the
sees. So
problem. It's so
unfortunate.
easy to deal
Very
with if you have the critical mass of people who are determined that the system should
You know
change.
what?
It's so easy to take care of.
Yes.
It's so easy to take care of. I pray that the government will take it up at this moment, even as we keep shouting, keep talking on all kinds of media, and that they will take up their responsibility and ensure that peace returns and ensure that orderliness returns. I mean, think for a moment. The people who voted you in now can't have money to run their lives.
No,
They have money, but they can't have access to
don't
it.
have access to it.
In other climes, this was enough, even if the government was doing fantastically well before now. This is enough to ensure that such a party becomes irrelevant immediately. That the party loses, the government loses favor with the people. But you know, we're in a special nation. All kinds of things.
Yeah, all kinds of things actually happen. Thank you so much. It's just how many days or weeks to the presidential poll. Let's keep our fingers and keeps our hopes up too.
Yeah. And
That's what we
I
have.
hope that we do our own part and go out our vote.
So yes. Well, we ask this well come to the end of today's program. The studio has been public affairs analyst, a fine analyst at that. I always look forward to having you every same time, Monday next week.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for your presence.
Winnie, Fred, and thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Thank you for being there. You're the one that makes the station rock. Thank you.
So same time tomorrow, same station. I'll be back. Take care.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.